Tales from the Darkside, Season 1, Episode 19, Levitation, about an aging magician who is coerced into trying his famous levitation trick just one more time. Two teenagers, Frank and Ernie, go to a carnival that's in their town, and they go to see the famous musician, Karma, who used to be really famous and big, but since he stopped doing his levitation trick, he's been downgraded to kind of this second-rate carnival. We see as they go through this carnival, before they get to the magician Karma, they go through some other sets. You see a woman, a headless woman. You see a woman on kind of a dartboard, and the guy's throwing knives at her. So you see a few other things right before you get to the magician Karma, which I think is a nice touch. So at first, they're not very impressed by Karma. He's doing basic tricks, pulling rabbits out of a hat, making a girl disappear. They want the real stuff, the uncut dope. Give me the levitation trick. They start chanting for Freebird. Karma is played by a pretty famous actor named Joe Turkel, who's best known for playing the bartender Lloyd in The Shining, where he's just passing those drinks in a ghostly manner to Jack Nicholson. And in one of the best movies ever, Blade Runner, where he played Tyrell, leader of the Tyrell Corporation, the ones that made the replicants. He does a pretty good job in this episode too. You can tell his setup is very basic. He only has about 20 people in the crowd, and even the woman he has working with him is way on the older side. He's been doing this for a long time. So Karma does a short magic show and ends it with something I thought was an impressive trick, but apparently the teenagers thought it sucked. Where he has his assistant put her head in a guillotine, and then he cuts her head off. And then magically she reappears right behind him. I thought it was good. No one else liked it though, so okay. Crowds are hard to please in 1985. But these teenagers are not giving up. They're going to go talk to Karma and see why he isn't doing his famous levitation tricks and some of the other stuff that he used to do back in the day, back in the 60s. Apparently he was friends with Houdini. A lot of this episode takes place outside, which is cool, so they did build a little bit of a small carnival. You see a little bit of a sideshow and then some carnival games. And they find Karma and confront him and ask him why he's not doing his famous tricks. What happened? How has he progressed so low? But this kid Frank is persistent. He knows that Karma can do the levitation. After all, he read about it. He apparently did this levitation trick in London in front of the Queen of England in 1960, and he did it 3 times. This finally sparks some interest out of Karma as he starts reminiscing about his famous levitation trick, where he apparently has actual magical powers and can make people float. This is no illusion. He's getting tips from the great Houdini from beyond the grave. Even after their talk, the kids persist and keep harassing Mr. Karma, who just wants to do his simple magic tricks to a smaller but more dedicated audience. But they will not let this happen. Frank begins berating him from the first row, telling him that he sucks, exposing how he's actually doing the magic trick. He'll pull roses out of his coat and the kid will tell the audience how he did it. He'll have these metal rings that he snaps together, and once again, Frank's telling the entire audience how he's doing all these tricks. He's egging him on. He wants the levitation, the wireless levitation. And so, guess what? He's gonna get it. And you can see this entire time, Mr. Karma is getting more and more annoyed at this kid. And actually, us, as the audience, are also getting more and more annoyed at this kid. At first, it seemed like he was maybe trying to help Karma out. Maybe he just wanted to see some good magic tricks. But now he's acting like a dick, and he's gonna get his comeuppance. He wants the levitation trick? No problem. He's gonna get the levitation trick, good and hard.
Enjoying yourself?
I want the wireless levitation.
Has your courage deserted you?
No. I'm not afraid.
So Mr. Karma tests him and asks him to come up to the magic stage so that he can be the test for this levitation. And Frank actually agrees, thinking he's going to outwit this magician. Mr. Karma has had enough of this heckling from this annoying teenager Frank. He wants the wireless levitation, he's going to get the wireless levitation. So he makes him volunteer himself and then actually has it start working. But you see, he hasn't tried this trick in 25 years, and he kind of loses control of it. Apparently it takes a lot of mental energy to make someone levitate. So he passes out, and then Frank goes out of the building. He's Elvis. He's left the building. He's gone. So I do like this episode a lot. I think it's a solid 7. Gets us back on track and has enough kind of suspense. And they really do a good job of making you like the kid and then hate the kid at precisely the same time that Karma gets tired of him. And Joe Turkel really does a great job portraying this aging magician. You can see how pissed off he's getting with his glaring eyes. It's like, oh man. Remember seeing that in Blade Runner, as he's telling this kid to stop heckling him. He mentions that one of the reasons he gave up this levitation trick is that he really can't control it, which becomes perfectly obvious. And also, something happened to his daughter when he tried this levitation trick on her, so it seems like she died the last time he tried it, and so he gave it up. This episode is directed by John Harrison. He actually was involved in 8 Tales from the Darkside and 2 Tales from the Crypt, and has recently been working on the anthology series for Shudder Creepshow, where he's been involved in 8 episodes, so he's still going, and we will get to covering that anthology series next year. Next up is episode 20. It All Comes Out in the Wash, about a very special laundry service owned by famed Big Trouble in Little China star James Hong. Check out our playlist, and we're almost done the first season.
Will know where I've been hiding, so be the one I need for a long time. Have an emotional stare of the wrong kind, without any attention. Got plans of aggression, it's so